Okay, so I'm doing my project 2 over Chapter 3, the social, moral, and emotional development. In Erik Erikson's stages of personal and social development, there are 8 stages, and his work is sometimes called physiological, can't pronounce that, sorry, theory, and it's called that sometimes because it relates to principles for that and social development. And in every stage, there's a crisis, and so and when they are successfully solved, they can use them to make new challenges within their life. And so the 8 stages of Erik Erikson's development, the first is trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus self-absorption, and generativity versus despair. Okay, so the first stage is trust versus mistrust, and this stage begins at birth or infancy, and it ranges up until 8 months of age. And the infants must learn how to trust, and they're going to trust their mother or whoever their maternal figure is because they are the one who give them everything that they need. And so that's who the child is relying on the most and trusting the most. The second stage is autonomy versus doubt. It ranges from age 18 months to 3 years of age. And this is when they're in their terrible twos and they're starting to try to be more independent and making decisions on their own. The next stage is initiative versus guilt, and this ranges from age 3 to 6 years old. In this stage, the child is maturing their language skills and their motor skills, and so they are constantly improving in every way in that. And sometimes when they are improving those skills, they can be really aggressive, and that can play a role in their social and physical development in their lives. Industry versus inferiority. This ranges from age 6 to 12. This is when the child is beginning school, and so they're being introduced more into the social world, more so than ever. Identity versus role confusion is the next stage, and it begins at age 12 to 18 years. In this stage, a lot of children are asking themselves who they actually are, and so their ego is playing a large part of this in who they are finding out their self to be. Intimacy versus isolation is the next stage, and it begins in young adulthood. In this stage, they know who they are and they know where they're going in life, and so they're beginning these new relationships of trust and intimacy, and that's their new relationships in life. The next stage is generativity versus self-absorption, and this stage begins in middle adulthood. In this stage, the person is continuously growing within themselves, and if they don't grow or continue to grow, it can lead to self-absorption or self-indulgence. And the last stage is integrity versus despair. It is seen in late adulthood, and they're reflecting back over their life and accepting all the crises that have happened within their life, and they're even accepting death. The classroom applications that I have found within these stages were initiative versus guilt, and this is because students are having to make their own decisions and they're learning how to make good choices especially at a young age. The next one is industry versus inferiority, and these are where students are setting their goals within the school or within the classroom, and they're trying to set those goals and accomplish those goals within that year or however many years within that stage. So the other stage that I had found that applies within the classroom is identity versus role confusion, and this is where the students are finding out who their actual role models are, and a lot of times that is us teachers. Therefore, we have to be good role models to them and make sure that we're being that role model for them so they can look up to us.